behalf of the Distinguished Visitors Program, Mr. Allen Ginsberg.
Thank you for coming. It's quite a lot of people. And what I'll try and do is read poems more or less chronologically from a period of the 40s to this last year. And I'll read and sing a cappella for about 3/4 of an hour, and then maybe have a break for those of you who are bored, so you can take the departure gracefully. And then after an intermission, I'll read up to the present. So we'll begin with song. CIA Dope Calypso, being a history of CIA involvement with opium traffic from Indochina to Central America up to this last few years. CIA Dope Calypso. In 1949, China was won by Mao Zedong. Chiang Kai-shek's army ran away. They were waiting there in Thailand yesterday, supported by the CIA, pushing junk down Thailand way. First they stole from the Mio tribes. Up in the hills they started taking bribes. Then they sent their soldiers up to Shan, collecting opium to sell to the man. Pushing junk in Bangkok yesterday, supported by the CIA. Brought their jam on mule trains down to Chiang Rai. That's a railroad town. Sold it next to Police Chief Brain. He took it to town on the choo-choo train. Trafficking dope to Bangkok all day, supported by the CIA. The policeman's name was Mr. Howl. He peddled dope, grand scale and how. Chief of the Border Customs, paid by Central Intelligence's U.S. aid. The whole operation, newspapers say, supported by the CIA. He got so sloppy and he peddled so loose. He busted himself and he cooked his own goose. The reward for an opium load, seizing his own hole, which same he resold. Big time pusher at the cave turned gray, working for the CIA. Now to be the Fong, he worked for the French, a big traffic man like the diamond to wench. Prince of the Mios, he grew black mud till opium flowed through the land like a flood. Communists came and chased the French away, so Toobie took a job with the CIA. The whole operation fell into chaos till U.S. intelligence came into Laos. Take it no lie, I'm a true American. Our big pusher there was Fumi Nusavan. All them princes in the power play, but Fumi was the man for the CIA. And his best friend, General Vang Powell, ran our Mio army like a sacred cow. Helicopter smugglers filled Long Cheng bars in Zhang Quang province on the plain of jars. Started in secret, they were fighting yesterday. Clandestine secret army of the CIA. All through the 60s, the dope flew free through tents and Hood, Saigon to Marshall Key. Air America followed through, transporting confiture for President Q. All these dealers were decades yesterday, the Indo-Chinese mob of the CIA. Operation Haylist Officer William Colby, so Marshal Key fly opium, Mr. Mustard told me. Indochina desk, he was chief of dirty tricks. Hitchhiking with dope pushers was how he got his fix. Subsidizing traffickers to drive the Reds away till Colby was the head of the CIA. Richard Secord and Oliver North hated Sandinistas, whatever they were worth. They peddled for the Contras to ease their pain. They couldn't sell Congress, so Contra sold cocaine. They discovered Noriega only yesterday. Nancy Reagan and the CIA. They discovered Noriega only yesterday. Nancy Reagan and the CIA. Juan Milan Rodriguez of Medellin cartel laundered their dollars, and he did it very well. Hundreds of billions through U.S. banks till he got busted and he sang in the tank. Buried in the paper only yesterday when Bush was drug czar USA. Milan told Congress 3 million coke bucks went to Felix Rodriguez, CIA, muck-a-muck, to give to the Contras only hush, 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 except for Donald Gregg and his boss, George Bush. Buried in the papers only yesterday when Bush was the drug czar of the USA. Now Felix met Bush in his office many times. They didn't talk business, they drank lemon and limes, or maybe they drank coffee or they smoked a cigarette. But cocaine traffic they remembered to forget. It was buried in the papers only yesterday with Bush vice president USA. Now coke and grass were exchanged for guns on a border airfield that John Hull runs, or he used to run, till his Costa Rican bust as a CIA spy trading Contra coke dust. Featured in the papers only yesterday, and Bush is in the White House of the USA. It was featured in the papers only yesterday, and Bush is in the White House of the USA. The original part of the version, the 60s part, was written in 1971, and the update was this year. Another early poem updated in the 80s. This is a pure sound poem, as Syllables and Dadaist use pure sound. This is called Home Bomb. So it turns around. It's a downer at the beginning of the minute, sort of alchemizes into transcendence. Boom bomb, we bomb them. 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 Boom bomb, we bomb you. Boom bomb, we bomb you. Boom bomb, we bomb you. Boom bomb, you bomb you. What do we do? What do we bomb? 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 What do we do? You bomb them. What do we do? You bomb them. What do we do? We bomb them. What do we do? We bomb you. Boom bomb, 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 we bomb you. Why bomb? You don't want to bomb. 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 Who said bomb? Who said we had a bomb? Who said bomb? Who said we had the bomb? Who said bomb? Who said we had a bomb? Who said bomb? Who said we had a bomb? Who wants the bomb? We don't want a bomb. Who wants the bomb? We don't want a bomb. Who wants the bomb? We don't want a bomb. Who wants the bomb? We don't want a bomb. We don't bomb. We don't got 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 a bomb. We don't 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 bomb. Going now back to, that's 1970, 1984, going back to earlier, late 1949, there was a precursor liberation movement called Beat Generation, and so this is a text from that time, 1949 actually. volume, the vernacular period, the era of that. Hold My Daisy. So this is written by myself, Jack Kerouac, and Neil Cassidy, as a little rhythmic diddle. Pull my daisy. Pull my daisy, tip my cup, all my doors are open. Cut my thoughts for coconuts, now my prayers awaken. Check my arden, gape my shades, all my eggs are broken. Silk my garden, rose my days, now my prayers awaken. Bone my shadow, dove my dream, start my halo bleeding. Milk my mind and make me cream, drink me when you're ready. Hop my heart on, harp my height, seraphs hold me steady. Hip my angel, hype my life, lay it on the needy. Heal the raindrop, sow the eye, bust my dust again. Wool the worm, work the wise, pick my spade the same. Stomp the hopes, what the hex, where's the wake, how's the X, take my golden bean. Rob my locker, lick my rocks, leap my cock in school. Lark my looks, rack my lax, jump right up my hole. Whore my door, beat my boor, eat my snake of fool. Craze my hair, bear my poor behind shorn of wool. Say my oops, ope my shell, bite my naked nut. Roll my bones, ring my bell, call my worm to sup. Poke my parts, pop my pot, raise my daisy up. Poke my pap, hit my plum, let my gap be shut. I think it was a star for review of the development of my own poetry. The Archetype Poem. It's 1950s. Joe Blow has decided he will no longer be a fairy. He involves himself in various snatches and then hits a nut and marries. He gets in bed with her and performs as what in his mind would be his usual okay job, solid as a rock should be, but it isn't. What goes wrong here, he says to himself. I want to take her, but she doesn't want to take me. I thought I was giving her cock and she was giving me a man's position in the world. Now, suddenly, she lays down the law. I'm very tired, she says. Please go. Is this it? He thinks, I didn't want it to come to that, but I got to get out of this situation. So the question resolves itself. Do you settle for her or go? I wouldn't give you a nickel. You aren't much of a doll anyway. And he picks up his pride and puts on his pants, glad enough to have pants to wear, and goes. Why is it that versions of this lack of communication are universal? In Back of the Reel, 1954, several years later. In Back of the Reel, railroad yard in San Jose, I wandered desolate in front of a tank factory and sat down on a bench near the switchman's shack. A flower lay on the hay on the asphalt highway. The dread hay flower, I thought. It had a brittle black stem and a corolla of yellowish, dirty spikes like Jesus' inch-long crown, and a soiled, dry center cotton tufts, like a used shaving brush that's been lying under the garage for a year. Yellow flower, and flower of industry. Tough, spiky, ugly flower nonetheless, with the form of the great yellow rose in your brain. This is the flower of the world. In San Francisco, had this being on some gay pride week, I think around here, April 7th or 14th. A paraphrase of a poem by Catullo, Malest Cornifici, Catullo, those of you who are interested in that classic faggot poet. It's a paraphrase that was addressed to his friend Cornifici. 1955, San Francisco. I'm happy, Kerouac. Your madman Allen's finally made it. Discovered a new young cat, and my imagination of an eternal boy walks on the streets of San Francisco, handsome, and meets me in cafeterias and loves me. Don't think I'm sickening. You're angry at me. For all of my lovers, it's hard to eat shit without having dreams. And when they have eyes for me, it's like heaven. And when they have eyes for me, it's like heaven. 1855. The last poem two poems I wrote for the composition of Howl. A Dream Record, June 8, 1955, and then a little fragmentary poem. Dream Record, June 8, 55. A drunken night in my house with a boy, San Francisco. I lay asleep, darkness. I went back to Mexico City and saw Joan Burroughs leaning forward in a garden chair, arms on her knees. She studied me with clear eyes and downcast smile, her face restored to a fine beauty tequila and salt had made strange before the bullet in her brow. We talked of the life since then. Well, what's Burroughs doing now? Bill on Earth, he's in North Africa. Oh, in Kerouac. Jack still jumps with the same beat genius as before. Notebooks filled with Buddha. I hope he makes it, she laughed. Is Hunter still in the can? No, last time I saw him back out on the street on Times Square. And how's Kenny? Married, drunken, and golden in the East. You? New loves in the West. Then I knew she was a dream and questioned her. Joan, what kind of knowledge have the dead? Can you still love your mortal acquaintances? What do you remember of us? She faded in front of me. The next instant, I saw her rain-stained tombstone rear an illegible epitaph under the gnarled branch of a small tree in the wild grass of an unvisited garden in Mexico. That's one of a series of poems based on literal recordings of dreams, which goes up to the present time. And the very next poem I wrote in 1955, which immediately precedes Howl, is a little note, like a note to myself. Blessed be the Muses for their descent, dancing around my desk, crowning my balding head with laurel. So I got a self-empowerment. The next poem in that series is Howl, so I will read that. So it's 1955. What I said I would try to read chronologically. Howl for Carl Solomon. I saw the best minds of my generation destroyed by madness, starving, hysterical, naked, dragging themselves through the Negro streets at dawn looking for an angry fix. Angel-headed hipsters burning for the ancient heavenly connection to the starry dynamo and the machinery of night, who poverty and tatters and hollow-eyed and high set up smoking in the supernatural darkness of cold water flats floating across the tops of cities contemplating jazz, who bared their brains to heaven under the L and saw Mohammedan angels staggering on tenement roofs illuminated, who passed through universities with radiant, cool eyes, hallucinating Arkansas and Blake-like tragedy among the scholars of war, who were expelled from the academies for crazy and publishing obscene odes on the windows of the skull, who cowered in unshaven rooms in underwear, burning their money in wastebaskets and listening to the terror through the wall, who got busted in their pubic beards returning through Laredo with a belt of marijuana for New York, who ate fire and paint hotels or drank turpentine in Paradise Alley death, or purgatoried their torsos night after night with dreams, with drugs, with waking nightmares, alcohol and cock and endless balls,
incomparable, blind streaks of shuddering cloud and lightning in the mind, leaping toward poles of Canada and Patterson, illuminating all the motionless world of time between, peyote solidities of halls, backyard green tree cemetery dawns, wine drunkenness over the rooftops, storefront burrows of tea-head, joyride, neon, blinking traffic light, sun and moon and tree vibrations in the roaring winter dusks of Brooklyn, ash can rantings and kind king light of mind, who chained themselves to subways for the endless ride from Battery to Holy Bronson Benzedrine, until the noise of wheels and children brought them down, shuddering, mouth-racked and battered, bleak of brain, all drained of brilliance in the drear light of zoo, who sank all night in submarine light of Bickfords and floated out and sat through the stale beer afternoon in desolate Fugazis, listening to the crack of doom on the hydrogen jukebox, who talked continuously 70 hours from park to bed, to bar, to Bellevue, to museum, to the Brooklyn Bridge, a lost battalion of platonic conversationalists jumping down the stoops, off fire escapes, off windowsills, off Empire States, out of the moon, yakety yakking, screaming, vomiting, whispering facts and memories and anecdotes and eyeball kicks and shocks of hospitals and jails and wars. Whole intellects disgorged in total recall for 7 days and nights with brilliant eyes. Meat for the synagogue cast on the pavement, who vanished into nowheres in New Jersey, leaving a trail of ambiguous picture postcards of Atlantic City Hall, suffering eastern sweats and Tangerian bone grindings and migraines of China under junk withdrawal in Newark's bleak furnished room, who wandered around and around at midnight in the railroad yard, wondering where to go, and went, leaving no broken hearts, who lit cigarettes in boxcars, racketing through snow toward lonesome farms in grandfather night, who studied Plotinus, Poe, St. John of the Cross, telepathy, and Bach Kabbalah, because the cosmos instinctively vibrated at their feet in Kansas, who loaned it through the streets of Idaho, seeking visionary Indian angels who were visionary Indian angels, who thought they were only mad when Baltimore gleamed in supernatural ecstasy, who jumped in limousines with the Chinamen of Oklahoma on the impulse of winter, midnight, street light, small town rain, who lounged hungry through lonesome through Houston seeking jazz or sex or soup, and followed the brilliant Spaniard to converse about America and eternity, a hopeless task, and so took ship to Africa, who disappeared into the volcanoes of Mexico, leaving behind nothing but the shadow of dungarees and the lava and ash of poetry scattered in fireplace Chicago, who reappeared on the West Coast investigating the FBI in beards and shorts with big pacifist eyes, sexy in their dark skin, passing out incomprehensible leaflets, who burned cigarette holes in their arms, protesting the narcotic tobacco haze of capitalism, who distributed super-communist pamphlets in Union Square, weeping and undressing, while the sirens of Los Alamos wailed them down and wailed down Wall, and the Staten Island ferry also wailed, who broke down crying in white gymnasiums, naked and trembling before the machinery of other skeletons, who bit detectives in the neck and shrieked with delight in police cars for committing no crime but their own wild cooking, pederasty, and intoxication, who howled on their knees in the subway and were dragged off the roof waving genitals and manuscripts, who let themselves be fucked in the ass by saintly motorcyclists and screamed for joy, who blew and were blown by those human seraphim, sailors, caresses of Atlantic and Caribbean love, who bawl in the morning and the evening in rose gardens and the grass of public parks and cemeteries, scattering their semen freely to whomever, come who may, who hiccuped endlessly, trying to giggle, but wound up with a sob behind a partition in a Turkish bath when the blonde and naked angel came to pierce them with a sword, who lost their love boys to the three old shrews of fate, the one-eyed shrew of the heterosexual dollar, the one-eyed shrew that winks out of the womb, and the one-eyed shrew that does nothing but sit on her ass and snip the intellectual golden threads of the craftsman's loom, who copulated ecstatic and insatiate with a bottle of beer, a sweetheart, a package of cigarettes, a candle, and fell off the bed, and continued along the floor and down the hall, and ended fainting on the wall with a vision of ultimate cunt and cum eluding the last jism of consciousness, who sweetened the snatches of a million girls trembling in the sunset and were red-eyed in the morning but prepared to sweeten the snatch of the sunrise, flashing buttocks under barns and naked in the lake, who went out pouring through Colorado in myriad stolen night cars, Neil Cassidy, secret hero of these poems, Coxman and Adonis of Denver. Joy to the memory of his innumerable lays of girls in empty lots and diner backyards, movie houses, rickety rows on mountainsides and caves, or with gaunt waitresses in familiar roadside lonely petticoat upliftings, and especially secret gas station solipsisms of John's and hometown alleys too, who faded out in vast sordid movies where shifted in dreams, woke on a sudden Manhattan, picked themselves out of basements hung over with heartless tokay and horrors of Third Avenue iron dreams, and stumbled to unemployment offices, who walked all night with their shoes full of blood on the snowbank docks, waiting for a door in the East River to open to a room full of steam, heat, and opium, who created great suicidal dramas on the apartment cliff banks of the Hudson under the wartime blue floodlight of the moon, and their heads shall be crowned with laurel in oblivion, who ate the lamb stew of the imagination and or digested the crab at the muddy bottom of the rivers of Bowery, who wept at the romance of the streets with their push carts full of onions and bad music, who sat in boxes breathing in the darkness under the bridge and rose up to build harpsichords in their lofts, who coughed on the sixth floor of Harlem, crowned with flame under the tubercular sky, surrounded by orange crates of theology, who scribbled all night rocking and rolling over lofty incantations which in the yellow morning were stanzas of gibberish, who cooked rotten animals, lung, heart, feet, tail, borscht and tortillas, dreaming of the pure vegetable kingdom, who plunged themselves under meat trucks looking for an egg, who threw their watches off the roof to cast their ballot for eternity outside of time, and alarm clocks fell on their heads every day for the next decade, who cut their wrists 3 times successively, unsuccessfully, gave up and were forced to open up antique stores where they thought they were growing old and dry, who were burned alive in their innocent flannel suits on Madison Avenue amid blasts of leaden verse, and the tanked-up clatter of the iron regiments of fashion, and the nitroglycerin shrieks of the fairies of advertising, and the mustard gas of sinister, intelligent editors, or run down by the drunken taxicabs of absolute reality, who jumped off the Brooklyn Bridge, this actually happened, and walked away unknown and forgotten into the ghostly days of Chinatown, soup, alleyways, and fire trucks, not even one free beer, who sang out of their windows in despair, fell out of the subway, jumped in the filthy Passaic, leaped on Negroes, cried all over the street, danced on broken wine glasses, barefoot, smashed phonograph records of nostalgic European 1930s German jazz, finished the whiskey, and threw up groaning into the bloody toilet, moans in their ears and the blast of colossal steam whistles, who barreled down the highways of the past, journeying to each other's hot rod Golgotha jail solitude watch, or Birmingham jazz incarnation, who drove cross-country 72 hours to find out if I had a vision, or you had a vision, or he had a vision, to find out eternity, who journeyed to Denver, who died in Denver, who came back to Denver and waited in vain, who watched over Denver and brooded and loaned in Denver, and finally went away to find out the time, and now Denver is lonesome for her heroes, who fell on their knees in hopeless cathedrals, praying for each other's salvation and light and breath, until the soul illuminated its hair for a second, who crashed through their minds in jail, waiting for impossible criminals with golden heads and the charm of reality in their hearts, who sang sweet blues to Alcatraz, who retired to Mexico to cultivate a habit, or Rocky Mount to tender Buddha, or Tangiers to boys, or Southern Pacific to the black locomotive for Harvard, to Narcissus, to Woodlawn, to the daisy chain or grave, who demanded sanity trials accusing the radio of hypnotism, and were left with their insanity and their hands in a hung jury, who threw potato salad at CCNY lecturers on Dadaism, and subsequently presented themselves on the granite steps of the madhouse with shaven heads and harlequin speech of suicide, demanding instantaneous lobotomy, and who were given instead the concrete void of insulin, metrosol, electricity, hydrotherapy, psychotherapy, occupational therapy, ping pong, and amnesia, who in humorless protest overturned only one symbolic ping pong table, resting briefly in catatonia, returning years later truly bald, except for a wig of blood and tears and fingers, to the visible madman doom of the wards of the mad towns of the East, pilgrim states, rocklands, and gray stones fetid halls, bickering with echoes of the soul, rocking and rolling in midnight solitude, bench dolman rounds of love, dream of life a nightmare, bodies turned to stone as heavy as the moon, with mother finally asterisked, and the last fantastic book flung out of the tenement window, and the last door closed at 4 a.m., the last telephone slammed at the wall in reply, and the last furnished room emptied down to the last piece of mental furniture, a yellow paper rose twisted on a wire hanger in the closet, and even that imaginary, nothing but a hopeful little bit of hallucination. Ah, Carl, while you are not safe, I am not safe. And now you're really in the total animal soup of time. And you therefore ran through the icy streets, obsessed with the sudden flash of the alchemy of the use of the ellipse, the ellipsis, the catalog, the meter, the vibrating plane, who dreamt and made incarnate gaps in time and space through images juxtaposed, and trapped the archangel of the soul between two visual images, and joined the elemental verbs and set the noun and dash of consciousness together, jumping with sensation of pater omnipotens aeterno deus, to recreate the syntax and measure of poor human prose, and stand before you speechless and intelligent and shaking with shame, rejected yet confessing out the soul to conform to the rhythm of thought in his naked and endless head. The madman, bum, and angel beat in time unknown, yet putting down here what might be left to say in time come after death, and rose reincarnated in the ghostly, and rose reincarnated in the ghostly close of jazz, in the gold horn shadow of the band, and blew the suffering of America's naked mind for love into an alien lava saxophone cry that shivered the city down to the last radio with the absolute heart of the poem of life, tortured out of their own bodies, good to eat 1,000 years. What sphinx of cement and aluminum bashed open their skulls and ate up their brains and imagination? Moloch, solitude, filth, ugliness, ash cans and unobtainable dollars, children screaming under stairways, boys sobbing in armies, old men weeping in the parks. Moloch, Moloch, nightmare of Moloch, Moloch the loveless, mental Moloch, Moloch the heavy judger of men, Moloch the incomprehensible prison, Moloch the crossbone soulless jailhouse and congress of sorrows, Moloch whose buildings are judgment, Moloch the vast stone of war, Moloch the stunned government, Moloch whose mind is pure machinery, Moloch whose blood is running money, Moloch whose fingers are 10 armies, Moloch whose breast is a cannibal dynamo, Moloch whose ear is a smoking tomb, Moloch whose eyes are 1,000 blind windows, Moloch whose skyscrapers stand in the long streets like endless Jehovahs, Moloch whose factories dream and croak in the smog, Moloch whose smokestacks and antennae crown the cities, Moloch whose love is endless oil and stone, Moloch whose soul is electricity and banks, Moloch whose poverty is the specter of genius, Moloch whose fate is a cloud of sexless hydrogen, Moloch whose name is the mind, Moloch in whom I sit lonely, Moloch in whom I dream angels, crazy in Moloch, cocksucker in Moloch, lack-love and manless in Moloch, Moloch who entered my soul early, Moloch in whom I am a consciousness without a body, Moloch who frightened me out of my natural ecstasy, Moloch whom I abandoned. Wake up in Moloch, light streaming out of the sky. Moloch, Moloch, robot apartments, invisible suburbs, skeleton treasuries, blind capitals, demonic industries, spectral nations, invincible manhouses, granite cocks, monstrous bombs. They broke their backs lifting Moloch to heaven. Pavements, trees, radios, tons, lifting the city to heaven which exists and is everywhere about us. Visions, omens, hallucinations, miracles, ecstasies, gone down the American river. Dreams, adorations, illuminations, religions, the whole boatload of sensitive bullshit. Breakthroughs over the river, flips and crucifixions, gone down the flood, highs, epiphanies, despairs, 10 years animal screams and suicides, minds, new loves, mad generation, down on the rocks of time. Real holy laughter in the river. They saw it all. The wild eyes, the holy yells. They bade farewell. They jumped off the roof to solitude, waving, carrying flowers, down to the river, into the street. Carl Solomon, I'm with you in Brooklyn, where you're madder than I am. I'm with you in Rockland where you must feel very strange. I'm with you in Rockland where you imitate the shade of my mother. I'm with you in Rockland where you murdered your 12 secretaries. I'm with you in Rockland where you laugh at this invisible humor. I'm with you in Rockland where we are great writers on the same dreadful typewriter. I'm with you in Rockland where your condition has become serious and is reported on the radio. I'm with you in Rockland where the faculties of the skull no longer admit the worms of the senses. I'm with you in Rockland where you drink the tea of the breaths of the spinsters of Utica. I'm with you in Rockland where you pun on the bodies of your nurses, the harpies of the Bronx. I'm with you in Rockland where you scream in a straitjacket that you're losing the game of the actual ping-pong of the abyss. I'm with you in Rockland where you bang on the catatonic piano. The soul is innocent and immortal. It should never die ungodly in an armed madhouse. I'm with you in Rockland where 50 more shots will never return your soul to its body again from its pilgrimage to a cross in the void. I'm with you in Rockland where you accuse your doctors of insanity and plot the Hebrew socialist revolution against the fascist national Golgotha. I'm with you in Rockland where you will split the heavens of Long Island and resurrect your living human Jesus from the superhuman tomb. I'm with you in Rockland where there are 25,000 mad comrades all together singing the final stanzas of the International. I'm with you in Rockland where we hug and kiss the United States under our bed sheets. The United States that coughs all night and won't let us sleep. I'm with you in Rockland where we wake up electrified out of the coma by our own souls' airplanes roaring over the roof. They've come to drop angelic bombs. The hospital illuminates itself. Imaginary walls collapse. Oh, skinny legions, run outside. Oh, starry-spangled shock of mercy. The eternal war is here. Oh, victory, forget your underwear. We're free. I'm with you in Rockland in my dreams. You walk dripping from a sea journey on the highway across America in tears to the door of my cottage in the western night. Footnote to Howl. Holy, 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 holy. The world is holy. The soul is holy. The skin is holy. The nose is holy. The tongue and cock and hand and asshole holy. Everything is holy. Everybody's holy. Everywhere is holy. Every day is an eternity. Every man's an angel. The bum's as holy as a seraphim. The madman's holy as you, my soul, are holy. The typewriter holy, the poem is holy, the voice is holy, the hearers are holy, the ecstasy is holy. Holy Peter, holy Allen, holy Solomon, holy Lucian, holy Kerouac, holy Hunky, holy Burroughs, holy Cassidy, holy the unknown buggard and suffering beggars, holy the hideous human angels, holy my mother in the insane asylum, holy the cocks of the grandfathers of Kansas, holy the groaning saxophone, holy the bop apocalypse, holy the jazz band, marijuana, hipsters, peace, peyote, pipes and drums, holy the solitude of skyscrapers and pavements, holy the cafeterias filled with the minions, holy the mysterious rivers of tears under the streets, holy the low juggernauts, holy the vast laugh of the middle class, holy the crazy shepherds of rebellion, who digs Los Angeles is Los Angeles, holy New York, holy San Francisco, holy Peoria and Seattle, holy Paris, holy Tangier, holy Moscow, holy Istanbul, holy time in eternity, holy eternity in time, holy the clocks in space, holy the fourth dimension, holy the fifth international, holy the angel in Moloch, holy forgiveness, mercy, charity, faith, holy, ours, bodies, suffering, magnanimity, holy the supernatural, extra, brilliant, intelligent kindness of the soul. Next large poem I wrote, as Howl might be considered a lyric poem. The next project several years later was a narrative poem of personal nature. My mother was holding my mother in the insane asylum. My mother, Naomi Ginsberg, died in 1956 in Gilmore State Hospital in Long Island. And so, 2 years after her death, I realized that I had not yet approached the subject, which was probably as close to the heart and close to reality as I would come to any subject, one's own mother, one's own family. And so I tried to write a narrative poem describing our relationship and her history, and my own history in relation to her. It's much too long to read here, so I'll read a few excerpts from it. It's part of the narrative section, and then part of the proem, and a brief part of the narrative section, and then some of the lyric epilogue. From the poem is a poem with a preface like which summarizes the themes. There's a long narrative section, and I'll give a short excerpt from that, and that excerpt from the poem part. For those of you who may not know, the basic rhythm of the poem is modeled after the Hebrew Kaddish, which is a prayer for the dead, which has a basic rhythm as a davening. Yisporach, Yistabach, Yisporar, Yisroman, Yisnaseh, Yishador, Yishaleh, Yishalosh, Yishro. So that's the sort of cadence that runs all through the poem, both proem and narrative. So that the poem is modeled on that particular cadence. And these cadences are reflect physiological attitudes, and those physiological attitudes are manifestations of emotion. The breathing, the cadences, the body posture, and body emotion, you might say, the vocal tones, all are manifestations of feeling. And so I was making use of that archetypal rhythmic cadence for this poem. You might hear some of it. Toward the end of this section, actually, there's a translation of the Ginsberg, part of the magnificent Morning No More. It's the last moment I remember when I see them all for myself now. Oh, not you. I didn't foresee what you felt. What more hideous, deep, bad mouth came first to you. And were you prepared to go where? In that dark, in that God, a radiance, allured in the void, like an eye in the black cloud of a dream. Adonai, at last, with you, beyond my remembrance, incapable to guess, Not merely the yellow skull in the grave, or a box of worm dust and a stained ribbon. Death's head with halo. Can you believe it? Is it only the sun that shines once for the mind? Only the flash of existence? Then none ever was. Nothing beyond what we have. What you have, that's so pitiful. Yet triumph to have been here and changed, like a tree, broken, or flower, fed to the ground, but mad, with its petals, colored, thinking great universe, shaken, cut in the head, leaf stripped, hidden in egg crate hospital, cloth wrapped, sore, freaked in a moon brain, naughtless. No flower like that flower which knew itself in the garden and fought the knife, lost, cut down by an idiot snowman's icy, even in the spring, strange ghost thought, some dead, sharp icicle in his hand, crowned with old roses, a dog for his eyes, cock of a sweatshop, heart of electric irons, all the accumulations of life that wear us out, clocks, bodies, consciousness, shoes, breaths, begotten sons, your communism, paranoia, into hospitals. You once kicked your sister Eleanor in the leg. She died of heart failure later. You were stroke, asleep within a year. The two of you, sisters in death. Is Eleanor happy? Her husband Max reads alive in an office on Lower Broadway, lone large mustache over midnight accounting. I'm not sure. His life passes as he sees. What does he doubt now? Still dream of making money, or that might have made money, hired a nurse, had children, found even your immortality and children, Naomi? I'll see him soon. Now I've got to cut through to talk to you, as I didn't when you had a mouth. Forever. And we're bound for that forever. Like Emily Dickinson's horses, headed to the end. They know the way, these deeds. Run faster than we think. It's our own life they cross and take with them. Magnificent, no more, marred of heart, mind behind, married dreams, mortal, changed, ass and face done with murder. In the world, given, flower maddened, made no utopia, shut under pine, almed in earth, bound in lone, Jehovah, accept, nameless, one-faced, forever beyond me, beginningless, endless, Father in death. Though I am not here for this prophecy, I am unmarried, I'm hymnless, I'm heavenless, headless in blisshood, I still would adore thee. Heaven after death, only one blessed in nothingness, not light or darkness. Stay this eternity. Take this psalm from me, birthed from my hand in a day, some of my time, now given to nothing, to praise thee. But death, this is the end, the redemption from wilderness, way for the wanderer, how sought for all, black handkerchief washed clean by weeping, page beyond psalm, last change of mind, and Naomi to God's perfect darkness. Death, stay thy phantoms. 2 years after a trip to Mexico, bleak in a flat plain near Brentwood, scrub brush and grass around the unused railroad train track to the grazing house, new brick 20-story central building, lost in the vast lawns of Madtown on Long Island, huge cities of the moon. I went in, smelled funny, the halls again, up the elevator, to a glass door on the women's ward, to Naomi. 2 nurses, buxom, white. They let her out. Naomi stared, and I gasped. She had a stroke. Too thin, shrunk on her bones. Age come to Naomi, now broken into white hair, loose dress on her skeleton, face sunk, old, withered, cheek of chrome, one hand stiff, heaviness of 40s and menopause reduced by one heart stroke, lame now, wrinkles, a scar on her head, the lobotomy, ruin, the hand dipping downwards to death. Oh, Russian-faced woman on the grass, your long black hair is crowned with flowers. The mandolin is on your knees. Communist beauty, sit here married in the summer among daisies, promised happiness at hand. Holy Mother, now you smile on your love. Your world is born anew. Children run naked in the fields spotted with dandelions. They eat in the plum tree grove at the end of the meadow and find a cabin where a white-haired Negro teaches the mystery of his rain barrel. Blessed daughter, come to America. I long to hear your voice again, remembering your mother's music in the song of the natural front. Oh, glorious muse that bore me from the womb, gave such first mystic life and taught me talk and music, from whose pained head I first took vision, tortured and beaten in the skull. What mad hallucinations of the damned that drive me out of my own skull to seek eternity till I find peace for thee. Oh, poetry, and for all humankind call on the origin. Death, which is the mother of the universe, now wear your nakedness forever. White flowers in your hair, your marriage sealed behind the sky. No revolution might destroy that maidenhood. Oh, beautiful garbo of my karma. All photographs from 1920 in Camp Nick and Dyke here unchanged. With all the teachers from Newark, nor Aunt Eleanor beyond, nor Uncle Max awake his specter, nor my father Louis retired from this high school. Oh, Mother, what have I left out? Oh, Mother, what have I forgotten? Oh, Mother, farewell with a long black shoe. Farewell with Communist Party in a broken stocking. Farewell with 6 dark hairs on the wen of your breast. Farewell with your old dress and a long black beard around the vagina. Farewell with your sagging belly, with your fear of Hitler, with your mouth of bad short stories, with your fingers of Russian mandolin, with your arms of fat Patterson porches, with your belly of strikes and smokestacks, with your chin of Trotsky in the Spanish Civil War, with your voice singing for the decaying, over-broken workers, with your nose of bad lay, with your nose of the smell of the pickles of Newark, with your eyes of Russia, with your eyes of no money, with your eyes of false China, with your eyes of Aunt Eleanor in an oxygen tent, with your eyes of starving India, with your eyes pissing in the park, with your eyes of America taking a fall, with your eyes of your failure at the piano, with your eyes of your relatives in a drugstore in California, with your eyes of Ma Rainey dying in an ambulance, with your eyes of Czechoslovakia attacked by robots, with your eyes going to painting class at night in the Bronx, with your eyes with the killer grandma you see on the horizon from the fire escape, with your eyes running naked out of the apartment, screaming into the hall, with your eyes being led away by policemen to an ambulance, with your eyes strapped down on the operating table, with your eyes with a pancreas removed, with your eyes of appendix operation, with your eyes of abortion, with your eyes of ovaries removed, with your eyes of shock, with your eyes of lobotomy, with your eyes of divorce, with your eyes of stroke, with your eyes alone, with your eyes, with your eyes, with your death full of flowers.
This half with a vaudeville symbol. Again, in honor of your special week, being lesbian and bisexual, is the title. But we've got others
course, almost everybody knows. And straight, you know, who do them too. So, you know, leave any minority out. Everybody sing. Then we'll take a break. Everybody just a little bit homosexual, whether they like it or not. Everybody feels a little bit of love for the boys, even if they almost forgot them. Everybody goes a little bit sweet-hearted for a poor freckled sun-faced lad. You'll give them a little bit of your soul like a girl that's never been had. Now everybody knows how thrilling a kiss can be. Right on the mouth, no thought, no doubt, from that singing boy from Tennessee. Everybody knows what it is to fall in love with the football hero bold. But so everybody's thoughts never do get lost. God remembers when you're growing old. Everybody's born just a little bit gay, a little bit of fairy and a dog. Everybody's born a lordly king of May, and a little bit even of a hog. So if you can't get with your natural human and don't want no part queer, you can line yourself up against the wall with your ghosts and shoot to kill your fear. You can empty your revolver in any woman's pants or any man's mouth you despise. You can call whore names or play fairy games, plutonium burning in your eyes. But you'll never get laid by a lady or a maid who won't be scared of your thighs. No, you'll never get laid, but with money you paid to buy off your woman with lies. No, you'll never get laid and see freely displayed the goddess that comes in disguise. So if you're in trouble and you don't like your double, why don't you come see me? I'll take you by the hand and love you through the land and ease your tender misery. I realize this is rather an intense reading. I don't really often read Howl and rarely Kaddish. I was asked to, so I thought it would be a good occasion. And such a nice, large generational assembly here. So let's take a break, 10 minutes. We can relax, and then I'll come back and read another half hour or so. And try and read I just skip ahead to new poems of this last 2-3 years. Someone asked me what I thought about drugs. Or a second here, I pointed out that the second part of Howl, the Moloch section, was originally conceived both rhythmically and the main image and some of the beginning and the end of it, the first paragraphs, first 3 or 4 strophes and the last strophe, so were written on peyote. For those of you who are psychedelic scholars, there is one poem called Whale's Visitation, which I don't have time to read, so I want to jump to the present. Written in 1967, a poem called Whale's Visitation, which was written in the 5th hour of an acid trip, which actually is a good intersection point between ordinary mind and psychedelic expansion of consciousness. Since there is a government-inspired myth that those two worlds are so completely apart, there's no interconnection. The good news of this year is that Switzerland has finally legalized LSD for medical, psychiatric, and scientific experimentation or use. You may not know that it's forbidden here, like a lot of other things. There's been a complete blackout on experiment with the mind, probing of the mind, exploration of qualities and textures of consciousness, while there have been hundreds of billions spent on the creation of war means, very little on the exploration of the human psyche, which is the only key to end the war. So, another key, beside the minor educational tool of psychedelics, would be meditation, sitting practice of meditation. And some of you know, and some of you don't. So I'll sing a song which gives you complete instructions on shamatha vipassana, the classic Buddhist
sitting practice of meditation. How you go about it, the praxis or practical instructions. It is called Do the Meditation Rock. If you want to learn how to meditate, I'll tell you now, 'cause it's never too late. I'll tell you how, 'cause I can't wait. It's just that great that it's never too late. If you are an old fraud like me, or a llama who lives in eternity, the first thing you do when you meditate is keep your spine, your backbone straight. Sit yourself down on a pillow on the ground, or sit in a chair if the ground isn't there, if the ground isn't there, if the ground isn't there. Sit where you are if the ground isn't there. Do the meditation, do the meditation, do the meditation, do the meditation. Learn a little patience and generosity. Boom, 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 boom. I fought the Dharma, and the Dharma won. Follow your breath out, open your eyes, and sit there steady and sit there wise. Follow your breath right out of your nose, follow it out as far as it goes. Follow your breath, but don't hang on to the thought of your death in old Saigon. Follow your breath when thought forms rise, whatever you think, it's a big surprise, it's a big surprise, it's a big surprise. Whatever you think, it's a big surprise. Do the meditation, do the meditation, do the meditation, do the meditation. Learn a little patience and generosity. Generosity, 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 yeah, generosity. All you got to do is to imitate. You're sitting meditating and you're never too late. When thoughts catch up but your breath goes on, forget what you thought about Uncle Don. Laurel Hardy, Uncle Don, Charlie Chaplin, Uncle Don. You don't have to drop your nuclear bomb. If you see a vision come, say hello, goodbye. Play it dumb with an empty eye. If you want a holocaust, you can recall your mind. It just went past with the western wind. Do the meditation, do the meditation, do the meditation, do the meditation. Learn a little patience and generosity. Generosity, 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 yeah, generosity. Boom, 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 boom. If you see apocalypse in a long red car or a flying saucer, sit where you are. If you feel a little bliss, don't worry about that. Give your wife a kiss when your tire goes flat. When your tire goes flat, when your tire goes flat. Keep your heart on under your hat. When you think straight and you don't know who to call, it's never too late to do nothing at all. Do nothing at all, do nothing at all. It's never too late to do nothing at all. Do the meditation, follow your breath, so your body and your mind get together for a rest. Get together for a rest, get together for a rest. Relax your mind, get together for a rest. Do the meditation, do the meditation, do the meditation, do the meditation. Learn a little patience and generosity. Generosity, generosity, generosity. Yeah, generosity. If you sit for an hour or a minute every day, you can tell the superpower to sit the same way. You can tell the power to watch it, to wait, and to stop and meditate, cause it's never too late. No, it's never too late, it's never too late to tell the superpower to stop and meditate. No, never too late, it's never too late to tell the superpower to stop and meditate. Do the meditation, do the meditation, do the meditation, do the meditation. Get yourself together, lots of energy and generosity, 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 yeah, generosity, 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 yeah, generosity. Now I'll read some recent poems. Sphincter. This is from 1986 to this year. Sphincter. I hope my good old asshole holds out. 60 years, it's been mostly okay, though in Bolivia a fissure operation survived the Altiplano hospital. A little blood, no polyps, occasionally a small hemorrhoid, active, eager, receptive to phallus,
Coke bottle, candle, carrot, banana, and fingers. Well, AIDS makes it shy, but still eager to serve. Out with the dumps, in with the condomed orgasmic friend. Still rubbery, muscular, unashamed, wide open for joy. But another 20 years, who knows? Old folks got trouble everywhere. Necks, prostate, stomachs, joints. Hope the old hole stays young till death. Relax. Spot, anger. Gregory, when you get angry, you've got two choices. Conk your Fred on the head with words at the kitchen table, snarl by the taxi cab door, growl in the hotel toilet, at national microphones, at your closet girl's syringeist fellow junkie. You wouldn't do that to your own kid, Max Orpheus, or to your virgin daughters. Only to me and your wife and your friends and the daddies and uncles back to Eden. Why not more subtle? Grab your anger by the wings and bag it in the garbage pail. Look around at the Venetian blinds. It's only you in the universe's kitchen. A subtler wave of the hand. Patience. Say, I don't want this Saturn trip. No thanks. Thanks, how nice, but I'll not entertain Dr. Frankenstein till Monday. These pants don't fit. May I borrow your library card? Breathe your typhoonic tantrum in. Exhale a gentle breath of Corso out the kitchen window, wafting a springtime fairy feathers light, raising a big iron pipe to conk Mr. Temper Tantrum on his green bull noodle, and fly off over Manhattan, weaving silver laughter around skyscraper spires. Cosmopolitan Greetings, which are a series of one-liners or slogans addressed to mainly behind the socialist in the socialist countries, Eastern Europe, on the occasion of being asked to send greetings to the Struga Evenings of Poetry Festival near Lake Ohrid on the border of Albania in Yugoslavian Macedonia, their annual poetry celebration. And every year they give out a golden wreath, and that year I got one, so I was asked to send something in advance, like a statement. And that's kind of heavy. That was a heavy thing to do, make a statement for the socialist country poets. So I figured a little art of poetry. Thinking partly of Poland also, and the Pope, and the Catholic scene in Poland, the ambivalence, the ambiguity of that. Poland, they got the Catholics, and Iran have the Ayatollahs. The Israelis have Shamir, and we have Reagan. Everybody claimed to be talking for the divinity. The vast egotisms of people, their pipelines to the absolute. Stand up. One, stand up against governments, against God. Two, stay irresponsible. Three, say only what we know and imagine. Absolutes are coercion. Change is absolute. Ordinary mind includes eternal perceptions. How? Observe what's vivid. Notice what you notice. Catch yourself thinking. Vividness is self-selecting. If we don't show anyone, we're free to write anything. Remember the future. Freedom costs little in the USA. Advise only myself. Don't drink yourself to death. Two molecules clanking against each other require an observer to become scientific data. The measuring instrument determines the appearance of the phenomenal world after Einstein. Therefore, the universe is subjective. Therefore, Walt Whitman celebrated person. We are observer, measuring instrument, I, subject, person. Universe,
we see as we see it is person. Inside skull, vast as outside skull. What is in between thought forms? Mind is outer space. What do we say to ourselves in bed at night in the dark, making no sound? Asked the poet Charles Reznikoff. First thought, best thought, said the Tibetan Lama Chogyam Trungpa. If the mind is shapely, the art will be shapely. Kerouac. Maximum information, minimum number of syllables. Syntax condensed, sound is solid. Intense fragments of spoken idiom, best. Move with rhythm, roll with vowels. Consonants around vowels make sense. Savor vowels, appreciate consonants. Subject is known by what she sees. Others can measure their vision by what we see. Candor ends paranoia. Candor ends paranoia. Candor ends paranoia. This is a chain poem written with the collaboration of my writing class at Brooklyn College. And inspired by the chain poems that Anne Waldman did at Naropa Institute, Jack Kerouac School of Disembodied Poetics out in Boulder, Colorado, where we all teach in July. Burroughs, myself, Anne Waldman, David Hockney, Francesco Clemente, Henry Geldzahler, Anselm Holland, and many poets. Sort of seminar under the auspices of the first Buddhist college accredited in the Western world, called Naropa Institute, where some collaborative work is used. So I did this with a workshop in Brooklyn College. I wrote the first line and the last line. The students supplied the material, imagery for the other parts, and we hammered it out together. Maximum information, minimum number of syllables for the other lines. Graphic, visible. Winces, like nail on the blackboard, wince. In high school, when you crack your front tooth bending down too fast over the porcelain water fountain, or step hastily onto Hillel Place without looking into a speedy taxi's path, or slice bologna quick, a stinging sensation, gasp, blood on a piece of thumb, or visit Ward 9N Bellevue, your best friend, wild-eyed, is talking about having 10 children. Or raise the tuna sandwich to your open mouth and a cockroach tickles your knuckle. Or step off the kitchen cabinet ladder on the ball of your foot, hear the piercing meow of a soft kitten. Or strike an old man blocking your crossroads way with your sword, marry the woman who runs the next town and call yourself Clubfoot. Or sit on a rattling subway next to the woman scratching sores on her legs, thick pus on her fingers. Or erythromycin hasn't suppressed the fungal infection in your mouth, so your doctor suggests you might be tested for AIDS. Or put your tongue to a winter-frozen porch door. A layer of frightening white flesh sticks to the wooden frame. Or burn your roof of your mouth on your first bite of molten cheese anchovy pizza. Or pinch your little baby boy's fat neck skin in the last teeth of his snowsuit zipper.
Or dragged into the bathroom stall by the Mother Superior, she blisters the skin of your left thigh for the 5 wounds of Jesus with the cigarette she caught you smoking. Or when you cross Route 85, the double yellow lines painted over a dead possum. Or tip your stale party Budweiser on the windowsill to your lips, taste Marlboro butts floating. Fighting on the second flight of the tenement, push your younger sister down the marble stairs. She bites her tongue in half. They have to sew it back in the hospital. Or taking a leak in the parking lot, your girlfriend's mother turns her headlights on. You're busy against her Volvo tires. Or, mine left out here. Or, I guess, reaching into the icebox for a half-eaten Nestle's Crunch, a sliver of foil sparks on your back molar's silver filling. Fall down and break off the scab on your left knee from last week. You might wince, a tingling twixt sphincter and scrotum, a subtle electric discharge. Haiku, a series of haikus actually. One-line poems from another book. Borrow from a year or two earlier just to make a series rather than just one. The haiku, in this case, 17 syllables, though they need not be 17 syllables. What I've done is made a single one-line, straight, simple, declarative sentence without breaking it up into 3 parts. So it's like a simple American grammar school sentence. Tail turned to red sunset on a juniper crown. Tail turned to red sunset on a juniper crown, a lone magpie quawks. I'll read them all twice. Tail turned to red sunset on a juniper crown, a lone magpie quawks. Put on my shirt and took it off in the sun, walking the path to lunch. Put on my shirt and took it off in the sun, walking the path to lunch. A dandelion seed floats above the marsh grass with the mosquitoes. A dandelion seed floats above the marsh grass with the mosquitoes. At 4 a.m., the 2 middle-aged men sleeping together hold hands. At 4 a.m., the 2 middle-aged men sleeping together hold hands. Caught shoplifting, ran out of the department store at sunrise and woke up. Caught shoplifting, ran out of the department store at sunrise and woke up. Or, the last one is called Tompkins Park, where we had the riots this last summer. 4 skinheads stand in the streetlight rain talking under an umbrella. 4 skinheads stand in the streetlight rain talking under an umbrella. Next. We're now into 1987. Personals ad. This is an epigraph by Robert Creeley. I will send a picture too if you will send me one of you. Poet Professor, this is the title, Personals ad. Poet Professor in autumn years seeks helpmeet, companion, protector, and friend. Young lover with delicate, empty, compassionate soul, exuberant spirit, straightforward and handsome, athletic physique, and boundless mind. Courageous warrior who may also like women and girls, no problem. To share bed meditation apartment in Lower East Side, help conquer world anger and guilt, inspire mankind empowered by Whitman, Blake, Rimbaud, Ma Rainey, and Vivaldi, priapic, carefree, eager or eager for art's primordial majesty, playful, harmless as slave or master, mortally tender to swift passing time, photographer, musician, painter, poet, yuppie, or scholar. Find me if you can. I'm here in New York alone, with the alone going to lady psychiatrist who says, make time in your life for someone you can call darling, honey, and who holds you dear, can get excited and lay his head on your heart in peace. Post Office Box 582, Stuyvesant Station, New York, 1009, New York. Proclamation. I am the King of the universe. I am the Messiah with a new dispensation. Excuse me, I stepped on a nail, a mistake. Perhaps I'm not the capitalist in heaven. Perhaps I'm only a gatekeeper of the pearly columns. Nah, this isn't true. I really am God himself. Not at all human. Don't associate me with that crowd. In any case, you can believe every word I say. This is from a dream. I guess Gaia, Mother Earth, an old bag lady singing in the dream. I saw an old crone marching toward me up the hill, an ancient, fragile grandmother in ragged dress, with firm steps, wandering alone, singing out loud on her way to the state capitol grounds. When dull roots write laws in Sweden or New York, poor Jews break Arab jaws, no black man eats much pork. Young soldiers gonna die, old presidents get AIDS, they bankrupted the sky, the ozone layer fades. Crazy people got money, I own state capitals, the sheriff calls me honey, army's a bunch of fools. I want my welfare stamps, I want my movie show, I got 10 kerosene lamps, I'm 99,000 years old, this town's already dead, this country's on the skids, the state's made out of lead, I can't feed my kids, my name is Gaia, put me in jail, I'll fuck the sky, nothing to win or lose, Papa, born you're gonna die. Atom bombs, the newsboy hoaxes, fakers yak the Oval Room. I live in cardboard boxes, they killed the ocean's womb. Tear up your welfare check, I'll eat my way to heaven. Throw me down Shit Creek, I'll vomit Pacific Ocean. May Days, 1988, begun in 1988, a sort of expandable poem. As I cross my kitchen floor, the thought of death returns day after day. As I wake and drink lemon juice and hot water, brush my teeth and blow my nose, stand at the toilet, a yellow stream issuing from my body, look out curtained windows, across the street, Mary Help of Christians RC Church. How many years empty the garbage pail, carry black plastic bags to the sidewalk before I boil the last soft egg. Day after day glance my altar, sitting pillow, sit a while or give a sidelong look and sigh. Past bookcases, Greek lyrics, volumes of military-industrial secrecy. How many mornings out the window, springtime's gray clouds drift over the wooden owl on the rectory roof. Pigeons flutter off the street lamp to an iron fence. I return to the kitchen, oatmeal cooking in an iron pot. Sit in a wooden chair, choose a soup spoon, dreaming out the window, eat my gruel as ailanthus trees bud and grow thick green, like seaweed in rainy Atlantis, lose their leaves after snowfall, sit bare-branched in January's rusty winds. Snap photographs focused on the clothesline, chimney courtyard chimney pots a block away. How many years lie alone in bed and stroke my cock or read the Times on a pillow midnight, answer the telephone, talk, my stepmother or Joe in Washington, wait for a knock on the door. It's portly, Peter, sober, hesitant, inquiring, supper, rarely visiting, rueful, a life gone by. You got the monthly rent? Armfuls of mid-morning mail arriving with despairing secretaries. Rise and tuck my shirt in, turn the door lock key, go down hallway stairs to enter New York City. Christine's Polish restaurant around East 12th Street on the corner of First Avenue, or taxi uptown to art museums, visit Dr. Brown, chest x-rays, smoking cough or flu, Turn on the news from Palestine. Listen to Lead Belly's lament on tape. Black Girl, Jim Crow Blues, Irene, and Sunday Puerto Ricans climb concrete steps week after week to church. Socks in the laundry, snap on the kitchen light midnight icebox raid, sun-dried tomatoes, soft Swiss cheese and ham, pineapple juice, low rent control, $260 a month, clear Jim Seal sanded floors, white walls, Blake's Tiger on the bedroom bookcase, cabs rattling on dark asphalt below, silence, a solitary house, Charles Fourier on bedside table waiting my inspection, reading glasses ready with neck string to hang on my breast if I rise, switch the light off, pajamas in drawer for sleep, 80 volumes behind the headboard for browsing through, Yiddish poetry, Attila Joseph from Hungary, Sashibutsa Das Gupta's obscure religious cults of Bengal, Louis Ferdinand Céline's Castle to Castle, De Bulgaria Eloquentia. What riches for old age, what cozy naps and long night dreams, browsing in Persepolis and Lhasa. What more ask existence, except time, more time, ripe time and calm, and warless time to contemplate collapsing years, though body, teeth and brain and elbow ache, a crooked creak at backbone bottom, dry nostrils, mottled ankle and smart tongue. How many years to talk? Sing in theaters, improvise in classroom, street, church and radio, far from Congress. How many more years eyes closed at 9 a.m., wake worrying? That ulcer in my cheek, is it cancer? Should I have charged Burroughs' biographer for the photos reprinted from 40 years ago? Miles, the editor's stylistic competence is okay. Is that right for the literary history to be generational for my tapes? Should I rise and meditate or sleep in daylight, recuperate flu? Phone ringing a half an hour ago. What's in the answering machine? Give back all my advances to Harper's and be free? Who promised deadlines for this photo book? Wasn't I up till 2 a.m. revising poems? What do they want out of me? Spontaneous verse? Take a plane to Greenland? Visit Dublin? Pen Club meets October, May 17th. Make decision Israeli censorship of the Arabic press. Call Cynthia Ozick, Yiddish translator, poetess, Zionist Yenta. Write concentration camp expert, moralist Eli Wiesel. What was his word in the New York Times? Quote, Arabs should throw words and not stones, unquote. Is that quote accurate from the Times? Then why didn't he say something about their censorship? Should I get up right now, cross-legged scribbling journals with motor roar downstairs in the street, stolen autos being doctored at the curb, or pull the covers over my aching bones? How many years awake or sleepy? How many mornings to be or not to be? How many morning mays to come? Birds chirp, insisting on 6-story roofs. Buds rise in backyard cities, forsythia yellow by brick walls and rusty bed springs near the fence. How many Sundays wake and lie immobile, eyes closed, remembering death? Get up, 7 a.m., spring sunlight out the window. The noise of a New Yorican drunkard on the corner remind me of Peter, Naomi, my nephew Alan. Am I mad myself? Have I always been so? Waking in New York, 61st year, to realize childless, I'm a motherless freak, like so many million worlds, from Patterson, Los Angeles to the Amazon. Humans and whales screaming in despair from Empire State Building top to Arctic Ocean bottom. Meanwhile, Yahweh and Allah battle. Yahweh with atom bomb. Allah cuts the throat of infidels and heretics. Yahweh's armies beat down neighboring tribes. Will Red Sea waters close and drown the armies of Allah? Israel's tribes worshipping the golden calf. Moses broke the tablets of the law. Zalman Schechter, Lubavitcher Rebbe, what do you say? Stone commandments broken on the ground. Sufi Sam, what do you say? Shall prophets' companions dance, circle bearded round the synagogue while Jews daven electric in Maya Shirim? Both gods terrible, awful, Yahweh, Allah. Both hook-nosed gods, circumcised. Yahweh, Allah, which one of the two is unreal? Which is the stronger illusion?
Which has the stronger army? Which gives the most frightening command? What God insists on maintaining his egohood in the Garden of Eden? Which be willing to be nameless? Which re-enter the abyss of light? Yea, let Israel's tribes wander to tin camps at cold Europe's walls. Yea, let the million Palestinians sit in deserts, shanty towns with tin cups. I am a Jew, cries Allah, Buddha, circumcised, snake sneaking the apple back into Eden. Alien, wanderer, core of the great core. What prophet born on this ground bound me eternally to Palestine, circled by armies, tanks, droning bomber motors, radar, electric computers? What mind-directed stern gang? Irgun, Al-Fatah, Black September, Meyer Lansky, Nixon, Shah, gangster, premier, king, one-eyed General Diane. Golda Meir and Kissinger bound me with arms. Hitler and Stalin sent me here. Weizmann and Ben Gurion sent me here. Nasser and Sadat sent me here. Arafat sent me here. Messiah sent me here. God sent me here. Buchenwald sent me here. Vietnam sent me here. My Lai sent me here. Babi Yar sent me here. Lidice sent me here. My mother sent me here. I was born here in Israel, Arab, circumcised. My father had a coffee shop in Jerusalem. One day the soldiers came, told me, walk down the road, my hands up, walk away, leave my house, business forever. The Israelis sent me here. Solomon's temple, the pyramids and Sphinx sent me here. Yahweh and Allah sent me here. Abraham will take me to his bosom. Muhammad will guide me to paradise. Christ sent me here to be crucified. Well, wipe us all out and dissolve the world in delight. The New York Times and Cairo editorialist Haikal sent me here. Commentary and Palestine Review sent me here. The International Zionist Conspiracy sent me here. Syrian politicians sent me here. Heroic pan-Arab nationalists sent me here. They are sending armies to my side. The Americans and Russians are sending bombing planes, tanks. Chinese, Egyptians, Syrians help me battle for my righteous house, my soul's dirt. Spirit's nation, body's boundaries, self's territory, my Zionist homeland, my Palestinian inheritance. The communist, capitalist, and third world people's republics, dictatorship, police states, socialisms, and democracies are all sending deadly weapons to my aid. I'll triumph over the enemy, maintain my separate identity, proud history evermore, defend my body here, this holy land, this hill Golgotha, never forget. Never relinquish, inhabit throughout eternity. Under Allah, Christ, Yahweh, forever, one God. Shema Israel. Shalom. Shanti. Salam. So I covered my mother's death. First part, father's death. Second part, being part of the process which you will all go through. And the death of my father, Malest Ginsberg, who was a poet. Father, death, blues. The day I heard of my going back to New Jersey to go to the funeral. Father, Death Blues. Hey, Father Death, I'm flying home. Hey, poor man, you're all alone. Hey, old daddy, I know where I'm going. Father Death, don't cry anymore. Mama's there underneath the floor. Brother Death, please mind the store. Old Auntie Death, don't hide your bones. Old Uncle Death, I hear your groans. Oh, Sister Death, how sweet your moans. Oh, children Deaths, go breathe your breath. Sobbing breasts, oh, ease your death. Pain is gone, tears take the rest. Genius Death, your art is done. Lord Death, your body's gone. Father Death, I'm coming home. Guru Death, your words are true. Teacher Death, I do thank you for inspiring me to sing this blues. Buddha Death, I wake with you. Dharma Death, your mind is new. Sangha Death, we'll work it through. Suffering is what was born. Ignorance made me forlorn. Tearful truths I cannot scorn. Father Breath, once more farewell. Birth you gave was no thing ill. My heart is still, as time will tell. Guru Death, your words are true. Teacher Death, I do thank you for inspiring me to sing this blues. Father Breath, once more farewell. Birth you gave was no thing ill. My heart is still, as time